Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at Made You Think I Was Gone, but by Tory Lanez. I love saying it like that. What a very odd album name. We very obviously know you're not gone because you're making music from jail, and you just dropped an album maybe 2 weeks ago. Or like two, or like maybe it might have been 2 months before this, and there will be a review for that one too. But I wanted to go ahead and get this one out because my ideas, what's the word, my ideas on it are fresher, and I was able to write them down more because I listened to that album more recently. But we are looking at this new album by Tory Lanez, which again entirely produced while he was in jail, which his sound engineer needs the biggest raise plausible, because it is, whatever you think about Tory Lanez, you cannot deny how impressive it is that this man has made no, three albums now from jail. Like, if I'm not mistaken, now, Peterson, I'm going to look at how long that was real quick. I only had the album page pulled up and not Tory Lanez's page, so bear with me just 1 second. Peterson drops in 2025 and also had 20 songs, an hour and a half. Like, that is a lot of stuff for Tory Lanez. And Tory Lanez fans are also still eating because, like I said, we've got LOL Slutty Bass, or Bass, wow, Slutty Bass, which is only 15 songs, but I mean, that's still impressive. He was able to make an album like that from in jail. Made You Think I Was Gone. Like, literally all Tory Lanez is probably doing in jail is hitting the weights and listen, like whenever he gets his phone time or like whatever he's allowed to get, just sits there and just makes music all the time. And while he's been doing that, they've been adding his mixtapes from like older Tory Lanez music onto streaming platforms, which is great because I love a lot of that older Tory music. But that's separate videos for separate days. Um, this album specifically, I do think is significantly better than Peterson, which I didn't think was bad, but it was kind of just okay. It was mid. There were some parts you could definitely tell it was from when he was in jail. I can only think of one song, and whoops, I think it's the song. Yeah, Dean and AB SGA is the only song where I feel like I could tell. Oh yeah, this was recorded over a jail phone and like mastered, not mastered, like mixed. But that's really it. The rest of this album is like, we're going to look at it from two separate discs. Disc one is mainly just the rap part of it, and that's how it was packaged together. And then the shorter, but like still second disc, is the R&B half of the album, or like R&B second, third, more like, which I do prefer disc one a significant amount. Not a significant amount, I shouldn't say it like that. I prefer disc one pretty good. The reason I'm saying that is because disc two does feel very samey, very repetitive a little bit. And that problem is the biggest one on this project. 23 songs of just straight Tory is a lot, especially when a lot of these songs are just carving copies but with different coats of paint, different, beats, which, I mean, all the beats are nice, all the production is nice, and Tory is flowing. All right, he's got a lot of good flows here. My favorite one, like where's it at? Sorry, I just ate, so I keep like hiccuping. Where's it at? Yeah, give me. That song's flow is crazy. The flow at the beginning is awesome. I love it. I love the flow on Revenge of Fargo. I love Nine Side Bodman. I love his Canadian flow. He, like, Smiley has mostly ruined the Canadian flow for me, but I like Tory's. I think his sounds good. And, obviously it's not as good as like someone like Drake's, but, it's pretty good for a flow that most people kind of find annoying, which I don't blame. It's a little annoying if you're not dropping bars or if you're not doing it quickly. It can definitely come off annoying, or if you're doing it too quickly, I should say. But he never really does that. Like I said though, and it does kind of, some of the songs have different coats of paint, and sometimes every once in a while he'll say like, "Yeah, I don't know why I'm in jail. I'm a free man." Just imagine some lyric that's like basically that's the idea of it. It gets a little hard to ignore that Tory is probably not an innocent man. It's very weird. My idea of the case and what I know of it is that it's very he said she said, and not a real clear cut story, but like some of the evidence they have does point towards Tory being the shooter, so that's mainly what they're going off of. It's more of there's not that much of that evidence, and thought I heard someone walking around. There's not that much of that evidence, and there is a lot of the witnesses have different stories. If I'm not mistaken, the driver, Megan the Stallion, Tory Lanez, and the girl that was with Tory Lanez all have different stories, which, obviously is odd. And, it really is, it depends on opinion on how long someone should be locked up for that, you know. But I will say, Tory Lanez does have a history of being an angrier person. Have y'all ever seen that video of him yell, like literally just yelling at Travis Scott, and Travis Scott's just like kind of sitting there? I don't even remember what they were beefing about, but Tory's just sitting there yelling. I know, for like, if you look at like other videos of him, sometime like of his behavior, he's kind of angry. He's got little man syndrome every once in a while. Sometimes he seems like a chill guy. I've seen clips of him like on that Tory Lane stream. He seemed like a chill guy, but then you look into some of his other stuff, and maybe he's kind of an asshole. That's all I'm gonna say. You get an asshole a little drunk, there's no telling what they'll do. But again, that's a different point for a different day on if he did it or not. I'm not here to say if he did or if he didn't. That doesn't affect the music. From what I'm hearing on this album, I think a lot of it is pretty solid. I know I've said some, like, I haven't been too awful positive so far, but like a lot of the production on here is great. Tory is flowing really good. It sounds like he made it in a studio, even when he didn't, and I think that's very impressive. Could he maybe be stretching the truth and he's kind of using some like demos, or he's kind of using some like, yeah, mix and master this one verse on this song that I've got the rest of it already done? Maybe, probably, but I mean, I don't know, man. In jail, there's no telling how much he can get done over one phone call. He's famous. He might get a. I don't really know how that works. He might get extended phone calls. I don't know how stuff like that works, but he might be able to sneak in phones. I do think sometimes Tory Lanez's singing voice on disc 2, sometimes his singing voice can get annoying. Not annoying, but like, come on, man, I've heard it now. Like, it's high pitched. When he does this thing where he goes from like his normal voice and he varies it. He'll go from like his normal to his deeper to his higher on one song. It sounds really nice when it sounds natural. But whenever it's a whole 4-minute song of just the high pitched voice, it can get aggravating when I'm hearing like 10 of them back to back to back. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you spin it, 23 Tory Lane songs in a row is a lot. There's not that many features for obvious reasons. I don't know how many rappers that would work with Tory Lanez. There's a couple, I mean, and they're all fine. None of them really do that much. I like Many Men Part 2, that song with VVS Ken. An- Another flow I really like from Tory Lanez, he's got two songs that I know of where he does it. He has a song called Florida Flow, where obviously he's doing the Florida Flow, and he has this song right here. And I think it genuinely sounds so good. And I like VVS Ken on here too, even though he's kind of just basic. I do think I like the beat switches on a lot of the songs, but they do kind of extend them to where they kind of would be too long. It's not that this album as a whole is too long, it's more so that a lot of the songs overstay their welcome, and that in hand makes the album too long. An album can be just too long where the songs really they more so flow together a lot and they start to combine and you don't really have an idea of which one's which. It's more so I can probably tell you what these songs sound like. It's that they're just too long. Like, Hasty Market in Toronto does not need to be as long as it is. I don't think Crody from the Nine needs to be that long with that beat switch. I think Swangin' is a little too long. What's another one that I have on my mind? Dancer's Remorse in Sin City is a little too long. And even though, like, I think Favorite Eater is probably my favorite song from Disc 2, it's a little too long. You know what I'm saying? But again, though, if length is your biggest problem, pause. If the length of your album is a little too long, I think that, and that's your biggest problem, I think that's pretty good. And yeah, because of some of these songs kind of sound samey and sound like they have the different coat of paint and not necessarily like something new, like different, or at least enough to where I remember the song more. I do think that is a problem, but again, I think that this is so impressive that he's doing a lot of this from jail. I don't know how many like unreleased songs Tory Lanez has. It could come out that this is just a huge collection of unreleased that he's like done things to from jail, maybe added a verse or added ad libs or added a hook, like I said earlier. But I don't know how many unreleased songs he has left. I mean, they've been dropping like Tory Lanez songs every single week for like a long time. Like, I'm trying to. When was the last one? The last Tory Lanez Lost tape was from was on June 26th. But I know for a while there he was dropping like these lost tapes which are basically just like unreleased songs, which a lot of these are actually pretty good. Just a lot of their problems are they're not long enough or like they feel like they need more, which obviously they probably do. But like a lot of these were week after week, and there's so many of them. I'm trying to go back to when the first one started. He's been dropping these lost tapes, I think, since the same year he got arrested. Oh, he did the. Completely forgot he did this Alone at Prom Deluxe from jail too. I think because he was recording that before he got locked and then had to finish it while he was in jail. But anyway, I think overall, I am going to give this album a 7 out of 10. I think this is very solid. To Let's say he made this entirely from jail. This is insanely impressive. Like, really, really impressive. If you are a rapper and you're questioning anything, like of your work ethic or stuff like that, this guy's making an album from jail. You know what I mean? Like, and you could argue he has a lot of free time, but it's still impressive. It's impressive from him. It's impressive from the people who work on this album. I think they should get a lot of the praise. Whoever his sound engineer is, like, deserves a lot. And I think like people should be running to him to like mix and master their stuff. Anyway, like I said, I'm giving this album a 7 out of 10. I like it pretty good. Feels a little too long, but a lot of it is really good. A lot of good flows, a lot of good lyrics, a lot of good bars, a lot of good songs. Just some mid ones, forgettable ones. I hope you guys like the video. Y'all better subscribe, or like I've told y'all a lot, I'm gonna start whipping ass. Like, I can't help myself. You have to turn on the bell too. So if you don't subscribe, you better lock your door tonight.